I buy these chickens at Walmart in a 2-pack. They're usually cheaper to buy in a 2-pack than to buy individually. These chickens were $1.24 per pound. Together, these chickens had a combined weight of 14.48 pounds, making them $17.96. Sometimes inside the chicken you'll find the neck and the gizzard or the heart or the liver contained inside one of these paper wrappers. I usually just remove that and I'll stick the neck in the Instant Pot to use to add with my bone broth. Sometimes there's a few pin feathers or a few little feathers left behind from processing, and that's what I'm doing, is removing those. Now we'll cut up the chicken. We're going to check where the joint is between the breast and the wing, and we'll cut in that joint. Now we move down to the thigh leg area. Look at the skin so we can access the joint easier. We'll cut down in between that joint between the back and the hip area, the thigh. Right there, we're cutting between the thigh area and the leg, the joint between the thigh and the leg. Remove the skin from the breast. That's optional. You can remove the skin if you want. I save the skin for putting in with the bones when we do the stock. For the breast, we get as close to the breastbone as possible. The breastbone's right in the middle. I cut down and kind of at an angle. Make sure when you're cutting, you kind of keep your fingers curled underneath and away, out of the way, so you don't accidentally cut yourself. There again, between the breast and the wing, cutting it as a joint. Now again, on the other side, we'll cut the chicken breast as close as possible to the breastbone. Which is there in the middle. And there's that little piece of meat right there that if you don't get close enough to the breastbone, that sometimes you don't get it all. So you have to go back and remove that. Right here, we're finding the joint between the back and the thigh. and cutting down between that joint again on the other side. I'll pull the skin off of that and leave it attached to the back piece. And then the thigh and the leg we're going to cut right there in the joint. Separate those. I missed just a little bit, so I had to realign where I was cutting. Now I'll place the bones and the back and the breast part into the stock pot. These pieces on the pan I will place on here, and I will place them into the freezer to allow them to freeze individually, and then I'll place them into Ziploc bags according to thigh, leg, or wing section, or the breast section. The breast sections I'll prepare according to how I'm going to use them. Sometimes I chop them in half like this if I'm going to just have them for individual servings. The thighs I'm laying on there because I'm going to use those after a bit. I'm going to take the bone out and use those, dice those up and cook them in the air fryer. Here I'm just laying out the chicken breasts to see how many there are and decide what I'm going to do with them. Here I'm just going to start filleting the chicken when the pieces are really, really thick. I choose to fillet them so that they'll be thinner and cook better. And then I'm just going to slice them into long strips, into tenderloins. And I'll freeze them individually, the tenderloins individually, and I'll either use them to make some chicken strips, or I will thaw them and then cut them some more into chunks and use them that way. On that one, I just was showing you the thickest part of the breast is where I start to cut to fillet it open. I'll continue with the rest of the chicken breasts like this until they're all filleted. And then finish cutting them into strips. Here I have the thigh, and I'm just going to remove the thigh meat from the bone. On the other side, we'll remove remove the bone as well, away from the meat. I'll continue to cut off the meat away from the bone on this thigh also. I'll put the bones into the Instant Pot for the stock. You can also use a stock pot to do your bone broth on top of the stove, or you can also do it in a crock pot. Now I just dice up these and I'll have them for a diced chicken meal later. This is all the chicken tenders that we were able to cut out of those chicken breasts that we had. I'll place these in the freezer and freeze individually, and then place them in a Ziploc bag for later. Here you're able to see how much chicken we were able to get out of that, or those two chickens. I forgot to show before I cooked it, but here is the leftover chicken bones and the skin, and then I added enough water to cover it most of the way. Then I'll take this off and let it cool. Remove all the rest of the meat from the bones, and I'll separate the bones from the broth. I'll allow the broth to cool, and then I will separate the fat. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe.